Yo, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin, where we are at. We have a couple interesting things going on here in the charts, in sentiment, and everything in between. Is it over? Do we have more to go? We're going to talk about all that today, including Ethereum, altcoins, and what we can kind of look forward to here. All right, so smash the likes if you like today's video, subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone's doing good out there. And let's jump on in. So obviously Bitcoin is down. We came down to like 78,000. Now, a couple different things that we can look at here for Bitcoin. All right. So obviously a little bit of a deviation from our cycles for Bitcoin, which I think is fine. And obviously, like if you've been following my channel, I'm a big believer in the 4-year cycles. We are slightly deviating, right? Where previous cycles we were moving up at this point, we are currently moving down, right? Which is fine. But I think there's a couple things that we have to pay attention to for Bitcoin and total market cap, where there has to be a line in the sand where we say, okay, things aren't looking too good if these things break, right? And there's a few levels I think we can look at for Bitcoin, and there's a few levels I think we can look at for total market cap that I think can help us say, okay, as long as we're above this, all is good. Still think we're going to continue higher, right? But if we break these levels, something's a little bit different, right? And we're going to take a look at that today. So the first thing I want to note for Bitcoin is a couple different things. All right, so we have this trend line, right? So basically our longer consolidations for Bitcoin have, we just connect our longer consolidations for Bitcoin as a trend line. What you'll notice is this longer consolidation, right? This longer consolidation, we connect those two. We did almost tap that today. We're about $1,000 off from tapping that trend line today. And I think there's some interesting confluence with this bigger weekly trend line. If we actually take our low to high Fibonacci level, that 0.5 retracement level is very, very important. You guys can see that we did wick right to that 0.5 retracement, which is at about 79,000, right? A little bit below that 0.5 retracement, right? Massive fear in the market, right? If you combine that over here with the fear and greed index, I think the other day, shout out to the shoes, shout out to the hats. Yesterday was 16 on extreme fear. The other day, I think we were at 10. Today we're in 20, right? There's extreme fear in the market as Bitcoin comes and taps that 0.5 retracement level. Now, why is that interesting? Well, if we actually go back in time and we actually take this longer consolidation point, which is our first touch point of that trend line that's been holding up the whole bull market, if you take that low to the high, right, same Fibonacci, that 0.5 retracement level, if we actually zoom in, was also the low back in August, right? Back in August, that 0.5 retracement level was the low from this big impulse, right? From this low to this high, came back half of that move. That was the low. We take this impulse from this low to that high, we just came back down to that same 0.5 retracement level. All right, so when I look at this, I think we're seeing very similar things here, at least at the moment. And I think another thing we can use is confluence of, not only is there a trend line at 0.5 Fibonacci levels, right? Every single time we've hit this, whether you look at September 2023, right? August of 2024, or now, every single time we've seen that, we've seen when has Bitcoin been in extreme fear? Well, if we go back and look, right, I'm pretty sure it was, right, September and August of 2024. And I think we dipped to about a 30. So we're a little bit off extreme fear in that September period. We've now seen the lowest extreme fear, lowest sentiment based on the fear and greed index since even before the FTX lows, right? So you're seeing some crazy stuff here in the markets right now, which is obviously crazy, right? But when you look at this, the other thing we can point to here, and this is for the long-term people out there, we can say, okay, in this bull market, if we take a look at the RSI has not gone below a 45 in this bull market. And this low, we went to a 45 on the RSI. This low, right? I guess we went a little bit lower on this low. We went to a 45 on the RSI. And if you actually look at where we're at now, we just kind of look up, you guys can see that we have not quite tapped that yet. And I think it's interesting is we have not tapped that 45 level on the Bitcoin RSI like we did in the two previous lows. But if you look, we also have not really tapped that trend line. So I guess what we could look at here and say, do we need to have this RSI go to a 45, right? Have Bitcoin tap this trend line, which still could take a few weeks. Maybe we chop in here for another 2 or 3 weeks and allow this come back down to that 45, right? Like it did here. We didn't quite hit it on that wick. We chopped around for a few more weeks and then we hit it. So the way I'm looking at the Bitcoin right now is maybe we got some chop or maybe even one more lower close, hit this 45 on the RSI, hit the trend line, stay above the 0.5 retracement like we did here, and that ends up being the low for BTC, okay? And I think what we can look at here is, okay, here's Bitcoin. Let's move on to total market cap. We'll go back to Bitcoin for a sec. Total market cap also right at the bottom of my very, very crucial green box. And why is this green box so crucial? Well, this green box is basically the 2021 high and then our last little March 2024 high. I do want to see this hold on a weekly close above here. And you guys can see right now on this weekly, we did get a wick, but for me, it's all about closes. Let's continue to close above that March 2024 high, right? And I just think it's kind of interesting that we got total market cap right here. We got Bitcoin pretty close to the, this relative level where it's bounced a few times. And like I said, and total market cap's right here. All right. So maybe what we need to see is this kind of chop around, Bitcoin kind of chop around until we hit that. And then we can see the market move up, right? And I've said this many, many times, and I think this is kind of the way I'm looking at it right now, is if we kind of look at all these things being at, somewhat crucial levels or approaching crucial levels, what I can say is I think if you start to see some weakness, and I think when we go over to Ethereum, you're kind of already starting to see some of that, and this maybe that's kind of the warning sign, but we'll kind of find out. Ethereum breaking this, 2.5 year trend line to the downside, and it's not the end of the world. We're still at support, but we did break that to the downside. I don't want to see that for Bitcoin. All right. ETH is one thing, but if we get Bitcoin breaking this to the downside, I think that's going to be a much more interesting topic to discuss. We got Bitcoin breaking this trend line to the downside, weekly RSI breaking a 45. I think that would be the time to discuss total market cap breaking this. That would be the time to discuss there being some issues in the market, right? Higher time frame issues in the market, right? Big, large cap issues in the market. If we start to see some of these levels break. But as of right now, we are holding those. So for me, and I've said this many, many times, total market cap stays above this on a weekly close. All is good in the world. Bitcoin, we stay above this, stay above the 0.5 on weekly closes. We can wick below, that's fine. Stay above on the weekly closes. All is good. All right, kind of just where we kind of have been in previous consolidations, which is that 45 relative strength index level, right? So that's kind of it. We do have weakness on ETH. I think this ETH chart is a little bit like, man, we were kind of grinding up higher lows and then kind of just put in these flat tops, and now we're breaking down, and it's a little bit interesting, right? It's definitely interesting. I think the ETH chart is a little bit icky. We'll see if that changes, right? We are at support right now, so maybe we get some short-term bounce. But like this breakdown is not that great, I do have to say, for ETH, and there's some other charts that look similar to this around. But I kind of look at ETH and I'm like, man, like that is not a pretty looking chart. And I kind of look at some other these, and Solana, just not a great looking chart. Sol looks like it's rounding out, honestly, and I wouldn't even be surprised that the Sol cycle top is in. I really, really wouldn't. I think there's a high chance that the Solana top of this cycle is in. That's a topic for a different video, though. As we've already talked about the death of meme coins, and kind of has been the case, but there's a case, right? Wicking the highs, taking the highs, and kind of just rounding out now, and kind of people losing interest in meme coins, right? Very, very high chance that Solana top is in. I could be wrong. We'll see. I think some other ones we can take a look at real quick. XRP, still very interesting level, right? Kind of just holding above that 2021 high, kind of stuck in between the 2021 high and the 2017 high. Same thing for XRP, right? I mean, as long as we hold on a weekly close above this 2021 high, I think all is good in the world. You start getting candle closes back below that 2021 high, I think there's some interesting stuff. So you kind of look around the markets, man, and a lot of these major cryptos are at major levels. Bitcoin, XRP now is. E30 broke down. Solana kind of already broke down of major levels. But a lot of these major cryptos, XRP holding that major level. And then I just continue to look around the market, and man, it's really, really, I want to say, do or die for a lot of these, but I kind of look around and, let me just show some examples that we've talked about in the past. A lot of these altcoins just at complete, you're talking, 5-6 year lows of where you've seen major bounces in the past, right? Polkadot kind of just holding here. A lot of these coins that have came all the way back down to the bear market lows haven't really been affected by this Bitcoin downtrend. They've actually kind of been outpacing Bitcoin while Bitcoin has been dumping the last week. A lot of these altcoins actually been holding up pretty well, right, at lows. Like you just kind of look around the market, and a lot of these alts, a lot of them have already broke to the downside, but a lot of them are just at these 5-year bear market lows, kind of everywhere, right? It's kind of crazy when you look around this market. Some of them even breaking lower, like Matic, and what else is there? Like Rose back down at 5-year lows. You look at something like, what's another good example here? I don't think there's, probably find a bunch of different examples. Tezos, right? And I don't like any of these coins or anything, but you kind of just look at some of these coins and they're approaching bear market lows. Points of where they bounced in the past, right? So, man, important time in the market right now. Bitcoin, what do we see over these next, couple weeks? Do we hold that 45 RSI level? Do we hold this major trend line at the 0.5 Fibonacci level? Does total market cap hold the line above the March 2024 high, or do we see a move lower and maybe have to be a little bit more defensive in our thinking, which you always got to have in a validation point? Do we get defensive below there? We'll see. E30 breaking to the downside. But at the same time, of all this happening, we're at extreme fear, right? And at least in this market so far, every time we've seen extreme fear, right, at least since 2022, have been interesting times to look to long or look to load up on shit, if I may say so myself. So let's watch and see what happens, guys. Let's watch and see what happens. Bitcoin cycles, we are deviating a little bit, but as far as I know with Bitcoin, is whenever we see these deviations, we do see catch-up points. The only thing that's a little bit interesting, and I do have to just point this out, because I don't want to just be like, everything's bullish and whatnot, because I think you have to be a little bit, looking both ways. The only thing that's a little bit different, I just want to show you guys total 3, right? And we've looked at this a few times, and and whatnot, and I think this is a very, very important chart. Or total 3. Yeah, we'll look at total 3. Very, very important chart. And the reason I want to show you guys this is we've seen alts do something a little bit different than they have in the past, right? And I've marked this. Actually, we probably should bring up total 2. Do we have total 2? Yeah, so total, I'm going to bring up total 3, excluding Bitcoin and ETH. The only thing that's a little bit different this cycle, guys, and I think we have to pay attention to this with Bitcoin, to say it's not impossible for something at least a little bit different to happen in the short term. We just marked January. Altcoins have not done well so far this year, right? And I was a big proponent of, okay, we look at cycles in the past, starting in January, the first half of the post-election year, was always good for alts, right? At least in the previous 2 cycles, right? January to May was the explosive time in 2021. You go look at 2017. Fortunately, we can't, but I guess we can go look at ETH for an example, right? We look at ETH, January 2017 to June 2017, right? The first half of 2017 was monstrous, right? For ETH and altcoins, right? But this cycle has been a little bit different. It's been a little bit different. January and February have been kind of shitty, right? January wasn't that bad. I think we actually were green in January, but February's been trash, right? So a little bit different in that scenario, and I think that has to at least open the idea that, at least in the short term, I still think at the high time frames it'll end up playing out the same for the cycles, right? We'll end up somewhere up here at the end of this year or something. But at least in the short term, we have to be open to like something different possibly happening, at least in the short term, because for altcoins, something different has happened, right? We are not going up in the post-election year, in the first half of the post-election year, which we did in 2017 and 2021. Why are we doing something different this time? Is it because no QE? Is it because, just no one's interested? Trump launched a freaking meme coin, right? What is it? There's always a narrative. What's the narrative this time? Too many altcoins, right? What's the narrative? But whatever the narrative is, we have not done the same thing, for altcoins at least, in the post-election year so far. So I think when we look at Bitcoin, we say we have to be open to thinking something different could happen. And where I could be open to something different could be happening is if we break through this trend line, just like Ethereum just did last week. If we see Bitcoin do that, that could be a slight warning sign for the market. But as long, and I'm going to tell you to say this, as long as Bitcoin holds above here, right, we could go as low as, mid 70Ks. We can go, 74, 75K and be fine. But as long as Bitcoin stays above that, that region, all is fine in the world. Something different happens, we would go a little bit lower than that, I think. All right, so all eyes on Bitcoin right now, right? All eyes on Bitcoin finding some type of cycle low, some type of correction low over the next week or two, holding above here, holding above that 45 on the RSI, holding at the 0.5 Fibonacci level, which we did last time. All eyes on Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin, I think we find a low on Bitcoin. I think we'll get some of these altcoins rallying up pretty hard. They've been sold off like an oblivion. We get Bitcoin to find some type of cycle low. Good shit will happen. Let's watch over these next few weeks. Wanted to make a video today, just an update. I think I streamed, 2 days ago? I want to make a video. I'll make a video tomorrow about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I just haven't. But hope everyone has a fantastic Friday night. Get outside, do something. Nothing's going to happen tonight, guys. You traders out there, just be careful of any, bigger liquidations, down to the mid 70Ks, still possible, I think. We got a little bit lower to go on the weekly RSI possibly. So just be careful out there, guys. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow in a video. So everyone, take care, much love, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.